Hello everybody, this is Noel from the TARDIS Zone. Now before I start this video, I'd just like to thank everybody who watched last week's review video. We will have a new review video tomorrow night for Doctor Who, so hopefully everybody will tune in for that. The reaction has been mostly positive. Of course, we've had a few negative reactions. Of course, you're entitled to that opinion. Don't agree with you and never will agree with anything you have to say. So why am I doing this video? I'm doing this video because, I just want to talk about the state of the fandom at the moment and the fact that you're not allowed to have a different opinion, and if you do, you're labelled all sorts of things. I've been labelled sexist myself and racist and all the other names you can think of, and this is basically down to the fact that you have a different opinion than anybody else. Now, to say the show is a success is a myth. If you actually look from the first episode to the very last episode that we had, there's been a drop of 4 million viewers. Of course, Jodie Whittaker supporters will say that it's still a success because they actually compare it to Peter Capaldi's and David Tennant's weakest seasons. But you can't make that comparison, as I have said on Twitter numerous of occasions, because they were both on a Saturday night. They were primetime Saturday night, and they were up against the biggest shows on a Saturday night, whereas Jodie Whittaker is sandwiched between two of the most successful shows on a Sunday night. So, even then her numbers are slightly manipulated because it's not a true representation of how many people are actually watching on the night of broadcast. Overnights are important, but of course, Jodie Whittaker supporters will say, it's not, you wait until the 28 days have passed and then you can judge. But there is a definite drop in the figures. A couple of newspapers have come out and actually shown this, and if they were wrong, BBC would obviously come out and they would obviously say that this is unfounded and untrue, but they haven't, because they are the true figures, and Doctor Who is clearly in trouble. Now, why is it in trouble? Well, it's in trouble because the writing is boring, for starters. Now, Chris Chibnall came in, and a lot of us were concerned about him because, he's used to writing drama. And okay, while he did write for Torchwood, and he has written 4 episodes for Doctor Who, they've been quite poor. His Torchwood's been slightly better. I have to say it's not too bad. But when it comes to Doctor Who, you can clearly see what he's trying to do. He's trying to turn Doctor Who into a drama, and that's what some people call it now. It's a drama. Drama is Sunday nights, and Doctor Who is on Sunday nights. But Doctor Who has always been a sci-fi show. Now, I know when it was originally conceived, Sidney Newman wanted it obviously to be historical and to teach kids, to be an educational program. But of course, it did evolve over the years, and people will say now that it is evolving again. The only problem I have with that is that, okay, we know every show evolves sometime or another, but it doesn't shy away from the core. It doesn't go away from the core of what made that show a success. And this is what this show has done. It has completely gone in a totally different direction, and it doesn't feel like Doctor Who. That is my biggest problem with the show at the moment. It doesn't feel like Doctor Who. Now let's talk about Jodie Whittaker. What can I say about Jodie Whittaker? Well, I don't think she's the right choice for the role, and I've said this all along. And I think this series, okay, the writing has been bad and it hasn't helped her, but even with what she has, she struggles to deliver lines. She pulls these mad crazy faces. She has a thing of extending her hand every time she uses the screwdriver, and she doesn't figure things out for herself. Other people figure out stuff, and then she comes in the last minute. And I don't like the way they make this Doctor out to be, the hero every time. The Doctor does make mistakes and stuff, but not with Jodie. Jodie is Saint Jodie. She's perfect. Our Doctor is perfect. Can't make any mistakes. What's the point of Yaz? I don't know. Her character, she's supposed to be a cop, but then when she was in that episode, I reckon it's in the UK, and she was around her mother. She acted like a little girl. She didn't have any authority, and coppers are supposed to have a bit of authority. They could have made her character a nurse. That would have been more believable. But again, she doesn't do much in it. She hasn't featured much since the first episode, and when she hasn't had much to say, or if she has, it's been politically motivated when she talked about people calling her a packy and stuff like that. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a cop, you have to deal with issues like that every day. So, I mean, nothing new there, but the only two bright spots in this show is Graham and Ryan, but even in the last couple of episodes, Ryan hasn't had much to do. But Graham, again, Bradley Walsh, I have to say, he would have probably made the better choice for the Doctor. Now, I will say, if you were going to cast a woman for the Doctor, even though personally I don't agree with the choice, and I don't agree that the Doctor should have changed gender, but if you were going to do it, I would have got in an actress like Olivia Colman, but apparently she might have turned down the role. And if that's the case, then I would have went for Claire Foy, who was in The Crown. I mean, she's a far superior, better actress, by far. Jodie Whittaker just can't deliver, and yes, the writing is bad, and she is suffering because of the writing, but she's not doing herself any favours either. I mean, those facial expressions, I mean, are just absolutely ridiculous. She can't run. She looks ridiculous when she runs. And I know some of the previous Doctors have looked ridiculous when they run, but she does totally look ridiculous when she runs. But going back to pro Jodie supporters, I mean, you're living in cuckoo land if you think this show is a success. I mean, again, I'll point out the fact that she's on a Sunday night and not a Saturday. And I will say this, actually, and this is also to the BBC, if anybody from the BBC happens to be watching this video. I will say, if Jodie Whittaker's season is such a success, yeah, and she's has the highest rating since Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi and David Tennant. If that is the case, okay, well then why not put our next season on a Saturday night? I mean, it's a success, right? Smashing the ratings on a Sunday apparently, but no, it's not, because it's the fourth best show on a Sunday night. Now, on a Sunday night where you have Country File and you have Strictly Come Dancing results and other programs, that's dire. That's dire. See, this is what I'm talking about. The numbers are manipulated no matter which way you look at it, because she is sandwiched between two of the most successful shows on a Sunday. So you're not getting a true representation of the figures. So you can believe the show is a success, but we see a slide. It's going to continue to slide. If what I've heard about the next episode is true, it's another boring, preachy episode. It's about Yaz and her family, her ancestors or whatever. I don't really care, to be quite honest, because the show has gotten that bad that, like, I'm not even looking forward to Doctor Who anymore, which is sad. Over 30 years a fan, I'm not even looking forward to the show anymore. Someone said to me only recently, well, do you think the show has left you behind? And I thought about it, and no, it didn't, because I was watching last year, and I know it was becoming very political last year, especially under Stephen Moffat near the end. It was getting very political, but this season in particular, it's been in your face everywhere you look. Every single episode, I'll give credit where credit's due with Moffat. Every single episode wasn't politically driven, but under Chibnall, it definitely is. He definitely has an agenda against men. I don't know why. He might have some daddy issues there. If you do, I'd say to Chris Chibnall, go and speak to your daddy and have a hug or something, because you clearly need one. And stop making white men, particularly white men, idiots or villains. Where's the aliens, by the way? That's another thing. So let's recap the aliens we've had. So we've had Tim Shaw, the Tooth Outlaw, as Cheryl would say to me. What else have we had? We've had the Beting, which to me is a commercial ploy by the BBC try sell merchandise, because the merchandise apparently is so awful that nobody's buying it. So this will probably boost the sales of merchandise. I'm trying to think of what other aliens we had. Well, we had big giant toxic spiders, which made no sense how they were created anyway. I mean, Chris Chibnall cannot write sci-fi. I'm sorry, but he can't. Unless he has someone there to actually guide him, he cannot write sci-fi. He's okay with drama. He's brilliant with drama. Let him write as much drama as he wants. But as a sci-fi writer, no. He's no sci-fi writer. I'll give Stephen Moffat one thing. Stephen Moffat would start out a story and it started out great. It was just the execution and the end result was bad. But he did know how to write individual episodes. He did during his tenure, during Doctor Who. There was some great individual episodes out there. And he could write sci-fi. When he wanted to, obviously. But Chris Chibnall is sci-fi is non-existent. I mean, there's not much sci-fi in Doctor Who anymore. As I said as well, the Doctor, or this version of the Doctor, doesn't seem to have the capability of figuring things out for herself. The companions or the people within the episode will figure most of the stuff out, and then she will just come in the end and like, oh yeah. You know, the fact that she didn't know that she was on a hospital ship because she was distracted is another look into how Chris Chibnall writes. He cannot develop a plot. He cannot construct a decent plot and a decent ending or conclusion. He just can't do it. He's incapable of doing that. I mean, even Broadchurch season 2, to me, which is the weakest out of the Broadchurch series, it was very predictable and mundane, and that's what we're getting with Doctor Who. I mean, in an interview back in the day, I think it might have been the 80s, where he was saying that Doctor Who had become too predictable and too mundane. Well, he's actually doing that today in 2018. It's become predictable and mundane. If I was to look at every single individual episode, I would have to say, personally speaking, the episode that it's the episode I feared the most, but it's probably the episode that's actually done the best and actually was a half decent episode. I just didn't like the way it was preachy, but the Rosa Parks episode for me seems to be the best episode of the series so far. I didn't think it would be. I do still believe they shouldn't have done that within the Doctor Who universe, because Doctor Who is about sci-fi. Don't be bringing civil rights and all that into it. You know what I mean? It's not a political show. If you want to do something like that, well then create a show that's all political and have all your political ideas in it. But at the end of the day, Doctor Who is a sci-fi show. And I think Chris Chibnall has actually forgotten that. So yeah, just basically to finish off the video, just a little word of advice for Pro Jodie supporters. You know, I wouldn't be getting too cocky, you know, because a 4 million drop in viewers is a lot. And I know you're thinking it isn't, but it actually is. And if it follows the same trend, by series end, there'll be only 2.5 million people watching. And that'll be your success. It won't be a success. It'll be the end of Doctor Who. We warned you about this a year ago. You didn't want to listen to us. We knew Chris Chibnall was going to do this. We knew it was going to get political. You wouldn't listen. You are fighting us now. You are trying to take down their groups on Facebook, and you are trying to attack us on Twitter and stuff. It's gotten ridiculous. It's like a war zone out there. But the point I would make is that we're not going away. And the reason why we're not going away is because we actually care about the show. You basically accuse us of hating Doctor Who and not being true fans of Doctor Who. But I am a true fan of Doctor Who, and I don't hate Doctor Who. I just hate the direction the show is going in right now. You know, for me personally, the best thing to do with this show right now would be to cancel it after Jodie Whittaker. Put it on hiatus for a couple of years, because at the end of the day, what we need now at the moment is a break. What we need is for BBC to go out there and find the right person to bring this show forward. We need someone that was a Doctor Who fan and who is a writer to take over this show. Stephen Moffat apparently was supposed to be a fan. I still dispute that, because I seen an interview years ago in a magazine where he said he wasn't a fan of Doctor Who, that he preferred Star Trek, but then when he became showrunner, then that article disappeared. It's the same with Chris Chibnall. He slated Doctor Who years ago, but apparently he's a fan, but he's not a fan of the old villains. And that's another thing as well. The reason why there has been no villains in it, because he is trying to make the point that this show is completely different to anything else that came before. The only danger about that is he has isolated half of the fan base. I would say it's actually probably a little more than half of the fan base at the moment, and the only people that are driving this are all you NPCs and all you other feminist groups that are out there, you know. And there is a couple of fans, obviously, that have bought into this. You know, and fair enough, you've bought into it, but it's not going to last that long, because it's not Doctor Who. And ultimately, the fans like me, who you criticise, will have the final say. I mean, you look at the Star Wars franchise, for example, and the Star Wars fans there have spoken. The franchise is in trouble. Ghostbusters was the same, and that was disgusting. I mean, I've watched that movie 3 times. Give it a chance, as you do. And it was disgusting. It was a whole hour and 45 minutes of man bashing. And that's what Doctor Who has become. It's become a man bashing zone. It's not Doctor Who anymore. So, enjoy the show while you can, because she certainly, this version of Doctor Who is going to be short-lived, because it's following a trend, and it's going to continue to follow that trend. And even some of the most, the most, what would I say, the people that are behind Jodie Whittaker, even some of them have seen how PC the show is going, and they're slowly but surely changing their tune. And a lot more yous will do the same by season's end. Will she get a second season? Well, apparently it's in production. Remains to see if she does. Christmas episode has been cancelled because apparently they've run out of ideas, which I find quite ridiculous, to be quite honest, because, you know, it didn't necessarily have to be a Christmassy episode with Santa Claus or reindeers or anything. It could have been an episode on Christmas Day, but not necessarily concentrating on the whole Christmas festive side of things. They still could have written a story within Christmas Day, but no, apparently they've run out of ideas and they haven't got a clue. And this is the head writer of the show telling us that, you know, they've run out of ideas. So if this guy has run out of ideas for Christmas, why are we trusting him with our beloved TV show? Seriously, why are we trusting this guy who cannot write an episode for Christmas? Why are we trusting him with this show? It doesn't make any sense. But of course, you know, a lot of yous out there will support it and will keep supporting it, because you don't want fans like us telling you, we told you so. But we don't have to tell you, we told you so, because the ratings are telling you, we told you so. And Chris Chibnall is definitely doing their work for us. I thought this was going to be an uphill battle, you know, trying to get this abomination stopped. But no, it's been done for us. So yeah, that's all I really have to say. I mean, we're going to have this probably for another season. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping they come to their senses, and hopefully the New Year's episode, if there is one, is a regeneration episode. I doubt it very much. As I said, season 2 is in post-production, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it will go ahead. Apparently the Jodie Whittaker's second season won't be until 2020, which again is another why Why do we need if this Doctor so see this is the point I will make, and I'll finish on this point. If Jodie Whittaker's Doctor is so successful, right? If this show is on is getting some momentum, as they say it is, right? Why would you want to take a year's break? Would you not want to get that second season out to keep the momentum going, to keep the hype going, to keep the hype train going, as they say? It doesn't make any sense. The fact of the matter is the reason why they'll probably take the year's break is because they'll wait to see how the final figures will be. After every episode is aired, right, and after everybody's watched then, they will look at those figures and they will see whether it's justified, whether there's going to be a second season or not. Now, if it does get a second season, it's because clearly they have faith in it then. But I only see this show going one way, and it's not looking good. And I hate to say I told you so, but I'm going to say it because I'm a cheeky little bollocks and I like to say stuff like that. So I told you so. And yeah, and you know what? You deserve it. You deserve it for supporting this tribe. Do you know what I'm going to actually do now? I'm going to actually go and watch a decent episode of Doctor Who now. In David Tennant's season that you've all criticised, I'm actually watching Human Nature and Family of Blood now. And that's how you write proper sci-fi. So Chris Chibnall, if you're out there, yeah, look at those 2 episodes, yeah, Family of Blood, and what was the other one? What did I say? Family of Blood. I said it there just a second ago. I forget, and she's no help either. The Scarecrow one. Jesus. What was it called again? I know. Oh, Human Nature. I said it. See, brain freeze. Human Nature, Family of Blood. Yeah, that's a decent Doctor Who episode. Yeah, the fact that you actually think that any of Jodie Whittaker's episodes are better than any of David Tennant's episodes is a complete joke. Complete joke. You can even take David Tennant's worst episodes, and they're still better than what Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall have produced. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. I shall talk to you all tomorrow for the review video. I'm looking forward to it. Of course, there'll be people out there that won't like what I have to say. I don't really care anymore, to be quite honest with you. Does this face look like it's bothered? No. Am I bothered?
No.
There you go. I'm not bothered. So, yeah. Until tomorrow, goodbye, good luck, and remember, stay safe. Oh, and if you feel like criticising someone, remember, if that was you, you wouldn't like it. So be a bit nice, you know, we're all Doctor Who fans. Well, I say we're all Doctor Who fans, but there's only some of us that are fans and the rest of us are a bunch of sheep. But for the rest of us, good luck. Bye.